In the steep, undulating heart of San Francisco, on a quiet street carved into the hillside, lived a young girl named Aya. Aya was a beacon of curiosity and creativity, with dark, almond-shaped eyes that held galaxies within them, and an unruly mop of ebony hair that crowned her with a rebellious charm. At only 14, she had an uncanny affinity for the mysteries of life, devoting her free time to devouring books about the cosmos, existential philosophy, and the enigmatic labyrinth of dreams. Her world revolved around her books and her father, Salim. Salim was a tall, lean man with an endearing smile. He owned a quaint bookstore in the heart of the city. His life had always been imbued with stories and inheritance from his Lebanese ancestry. He had passed on this love to his daughter, along with tales of the old country, its landscapes, its myths, and its people. Their bond was a symphony of shared dreams, laughter, and book-fueled adventures. They lived in a cozy Victorian house, painted a vibrant shade of blue, a gem among the city's famed painted ladies. The house was brimming with books. They sprawled over tables, peeked out from shelves, and sometimes even served as coasters. Aya's favorite spot was a tiny attic room. It was her sanctuary, a haven adorned with twinkling fairy lights, posters of constellations, and countless journals brimming with her sketches and thoughts. Despite her mother's untimely death when Aya was just a toddler, Salim had woven a nurturing and vibrant life for his daughter. They were each other's world, their bond a testament to the power of love and resilience. Salim would often tell Aya, "We are two halves of the same star, you and I, always bound no matter where in the universe we may be." And she believed it, with every fiber of her being. Life had a rhythmic beauty to it, from Salim's morning brews to Aya's evening explorations of the astral cosmos through her books. San Francisco was their home, the city's cultural vibrancy and architectural charm a comforting background to their existence. The Golden Gate Bridge, cable cars, and clam chowder at Fisherman's Wharf were regular fixtures of their weekends, drawing them out of their world of books and into the tangible reality of their beloved city. Yet for all the love and warmth that blanketed Aya's life, she was harboring a secret, a nascent gift unfurling within her. The gift of traversing into ethereal realms of dreams, a talent she was just beginning to comprehend, an extraordinary talent that was not yet fully understood, one that filled her with both awe and a tingling sense of mystery. Little did she know, this gift, so unique and mesmerizing, would soon lead her down an unforeseen path that would intertwine her destiny with the realm of dreams in the most profound ways. Aya still remembered that fateful day. The sun was setting, painting the San Francisco sky with hues of pink and orange. The evening was uneventful, much like any other. Salim was due home, ready for their ritual of sharing stories over warm cups of cocoa. But as minutes turned into hours, worry crept into Aya's heart. The normalcy of the day was shattered by the shrill ring of a telephone. It was a call from the hospital. Salim had been in an accident. He had been hit by a reckless driver while crossing the street after leaving his bookstore. The news sent shockwaves through Aya, making the world around her spin out of control. The vibrant, laughter-filled world that Salim and she had carefully built seemed to crumble around her. Rushed to the hospital, Salim lay unconscious, a pale shadow of his usual vibrant self. His life hung in the balance as the doctors battled to stabilize him. Aya felt a profound sense of dread as she watched her father fight for his life. The lively man who was her entire world was now tethered to machines, his breath echoing in the sterile silence of the hospital room. And then, just as suddenly as the tempest had descended, Salim's condition stabilized. But he didn't wake up. He was in a coma. Days turned into weeks, then months. The doctors couldn't say when or if Salim would wake up. Aya was lost, and her once vibrant world now felt hollow and cold. She clung to the hope that her father would return to her. But as time passed, that hope seemed to fade further and further away. In the midst of this tragedy, Aya's unusual ability began to surface more prominently. It started as hazy, disconnected dreams, but as days passed, the dreams became more lucid. She began to experience things she'd only read about: astral projection, the ability to journey beyond her physical body into a plane of existence where dreams and reality melded. Aya found herself walking in a realm where thoughts shaped reality, where echoes of the physical world resonated, yet twisted into unfamiliar forms. It was as if she had been thrust into a Salvador Dali painting. It was terrifying and fascinating all at once. One night, as Aya lay beside her comatose father holding his hand, she fell into a deep sleep. But this sleep was different. She felt herself lifting away from her body, a spectral version of herself floating in the semi-darkness of the hospital room. She looked down to see her physical body, peacefully asleep beside her father. In this ethereal form, Aya noticed something she hadn't before. She could see a thin silver thread emerging from her father's chest, a luminous cord stretching out into the unknown. Without fully understanding why, she felt a pull towards it. It was a call she couldn't ignore, a silent plea that echoed in her heart. A realization dawned upon her. Perhaps her extraordinary gift was not just an anomaly. Maybe it was the key to bringing her father back. Armed with a newfound determination, Aya began to venture deeper into the dream realm. At first, the ethereal plane felt tranquil, a seemingly serene canvas where thoughts manifested and dissolved. But as she traveled further, the tranquility faded, replaced by a looming sense of unease. The once serene plane twisted into nightmarish landscapes, filled with grotesque creatures and distorted reflections of the physical world. This was the dark side of the realm, a place where nightmares thrived. The once peaceful specter of her father's hospital room was replaced with ominous structures, decaying buildings, and eerie forests filled with whispering trees. The entities within this realm were not welcoming. Malevolent eyes glowed in the darkness, waiting for an opportunity to strike. They were drawn to Aya, attracted by the light of her living soul. They began to attack, their tactics growing more terrifying with each encounter. Nightmarish creatures born of fear and despair manifested before her, their horrifying forms seething with ill intent. Yet each encounter, each terror-filled moment only steeled Aya's resolve. Her journey through the dream realm was not just a series of horrifying encounters. She found remnants of happiness, fragments of dreams filled with joy and hope. Yet they were fleeting, soon swallowed by the oppressive darkness. As she traveled deeper, the malevolent entities became stronger, their attacks more relentless. It felt as though she was caught in a whirlpool of despair, her father's life thread her only anchor. Aya learned to defend herself. The more she understood the dream realm, the more she realized that it was influenced by the dreamer's mind. With strong willpower and clear intentions, she was able to reshape parts of the realm, creating barriers against the nightmarish entities and navigating through the twisted landscapes. Her spirit was tested at every turn, but she refused to falter. Time lost all meaning as she pushed forward, driven by the singular aim of reaching her father's spirit. The luminous thread that connected them served as her guide, leading her through the tumultuous dream realm. Her most significant encounter occurred when she came face to face with a creature born of pure nightmares, a grotesque monstrosity radiating powerful dark energy. It was an entity that towered over her, its form shifting and writhing, made up of 1,000 faces, all twisted in agony. The creature lunged at her, but Aya, now stronger and more experienced, stood her ground. With a firm belief in her purpose and a fierce love for her father fueling her, she reshaped her surroundings, confining the creature, giving herself a chance to escape. However, the entity was powerful. It broke free from her construct, roaring in anger. Just as it was about to strike, a brilliant light enveloped Aya, acting as a shield. The source of the light was a small, luminous figure, one that she hadn't noticed before. It was a fragment of her father's spirit, a beacon in the suffocating darkness. With the light holding the creature at bay, Aya made her escape, pushing forward, following the silver thread leading her to her father. It was a daunting journey, filled with trials and terrors, but also marked by her unwavering determination and growth. The beacon of her father's spirit grew brighter with every step she took, its light casting away the darkness, guiding her towards her ultimate goal, her father. And then, after what seemed like an eternity of trials and horrors, Aya finally arrived at her destination. The silver thread led her to a cavernous expanse. In the middle of this expanse floated a glowing, spectral figure attached to the thread, her father, Salim. Salim was trapped in a crystalline structure, a prison of his own subconscious. Seeing him there, so close yet so far, a wave of emotions washed over Aya, fear, hope, despair, and love all mingled together. But overriding all was her resolute determination. She reached out and her hand met the cool, unyielding surface of the crystal. Memories flashed across the surface, moments of laughter, shared stories, warm embraces, memories of their life before the accident. They served as a painful reminder of what she had lost and what she was fighting for. Aya focused her will, the lessons she had learned, and the strength she had gained in her journey through the dream realm all channeled into her touch. The crystal began to fracture, cracks forming on its surface, spider webbing out from where her hand was placed. The prison that held her father captive was breaking. As the crystal shattered, Salim's spectral form stirred. His eyes flickered open, meeting Aya's. There was a moment of recognition, a spark of his old self shining through. He reached out, taking Aya's hand, his grip filled with a silent gratitude. Together, they began their journey back, guided by the beacon that was the fragment of Salim's spirit. The return journey was no less daunting than the one that had brought her here. The malevolent entities seemed enraged, their attacks more ferocious. It was as if they knew what she was attempting, and they would stop at nothing to prevent her from escaping. As they neared the exit, a monstrous roar echoed through the realm. The entity Aya had encountered earlier, the one born of pure nightmares, emerged from the shadows. It was more horrifying than before, its form even more grotesque, pulsating with dark energy. With a terrifying speed, the creature lunged towards them. Aya, weakened by the effort of freeing her father, barely managed to put up a shield. The entity struck hard, its power far exceeding hers. The shield shattered, throwing Aya back. Salim, seeing his daughter in danger, acted on instinct. He stepped in front of the creature, his spectral form radiating a brilliant light. The creature recoiled, its form writhing as if in pain. A fierce battle of wills ensued, but Salim's spirit, fueled by his love for his daughter and his desire to protect her, held the creature at bay. In the midst of this chaos, Aya saw their chance to escape. Despite her weakened state, she pulled herself up, drawing upon her last reserves of strength. She reached out to her father, ready to make their final dash towards the exit. However, just as they were about to escape, the entity struck again. It ensnared Aya, ripping her away from her father. Aya screamed, a sound that echoed through the realm, a sound that would forever haunt Salim. She was trapped within the nightmarish realm, the exit closing before her eyes. With a final glance towards her father, Aya saw the horror etched on Salim's face. It was the last thing she saw before the darkness swallowed her whole, sealing her fate. As Salim stirred from his deep slumber, he was met with a blinding white light. He found himself in a sterile, unfamiliar room, the scent of antiseptics pervading the air. His body felt weak, drained, as if he had been asleep for a very long time. Gradually, the memories flooded back. The accident, the coma, and the dream realm. His heart pounded in his chest. As he remembered his daughter's voice, her eyes filled with fear as the monstrous entity ripped her away from him. The image was seared into his mind, a painful reminder of his failure to protect her. His eyes welled up as the truth of Aya's fate sank in. She was gone, trapped within a nightmarish realm of horrors. The weight of this reality was suffocating, the guilt overwhelming. He had been given a second chance at life, but at the cost of his beloved daughter. Salim's recovery was slow and painful, marred by the absence of Aya's cheerful presence. Every corner of their San Francisco home echoed with her laughter, every room filled with memories of their shared moments. It was a harsh reminder of the vibrant life that had been extinguished too soon. The world outside continued to move forward, oblivious to Salim's private torment. He threw himself into his work, attempting to drown his guilt and sorrow. But no amount of distractions could fill the gaping hole Aya's absence had left in his life. The presence of Aya, however, lingered. Salim began to sense her spectral presence, a remnant of her trapped spirit. He felt her in the subtle chill that swept across a room, in the soft whispers that echoed in the silence of the night, and in the fleeting visions that haunted his dreams. As time went by, the visions became more vivid, more haunting. Salim could see Aya, trapped in a realm of darkness, her face a picture of eternal torment. He would wake up from these dreams, his body drenched in sweat, his heart pounding with fear and helplessness. His once joyful life had taken a terrifying turn, transformed into a living nightmare, the haunting presence of his daughter, a painful reminder of the curse he had unknowingly unleashed. The happy memories were overshadowed by guilt and regret, the joy replaced by a constant, gnawing dread. Salim lived in a state of sorrowful acceptance, carrying the heavy burden of his daughter's sacrifice. His life was forever marked by the tragic incident, his existence a testament to the horrific ordeal they had faced in the realm of dreams. The aftermath of the terrifying saga was a cruel reality he had to live with, every waking moment a reminder of his loss. Years turned into decades. The vibrant city of San Francisco continued to evolve, but Salim remained trapped in his own perpetual nightmare, a ghost of the man he once was, living in a home haunted by memories and spectral remnants of his beloved daughter. Visitors would often speak of an unsettling chill in Salim's home, whispers echoing in the silence, and an inexplicable feeling of sorrow that seemed to seep from the very walls. Salim, however, lived with these ghostly reminders of Aya every day, his existence a grim testament to their harrowing ordeal in the dream realm. Salim's eyes, once full of life, were now windows to an eternal torment. Every passing day was a constant battle, a struggle to carry the weight of his guilt, his loss. His daughter's sacrifice had saved him, but at what cost? Night after night, he would be visited by the same dream, the horrifying image of Aya being torn away from him, her terrified scream echoing through the nightmare realm. Each morning he would awaken with her name on his lips, his heart heavy with longing and regret. Salim lived on, a haunted man in a haunted house, his life a chilling reminder of the terrifying ordeal that had forever altered their lives. His existence was a living testament to his daughter's sacrifice, a silent homage to the love that had driven Aya to face horrors beyond imagination. As he stared out the window at the bustling city, Salim couldn't help but wonder what life could have been, had fate not dealt them such a cruel hand. His heart ached for his daughter, his only solace in the spectral presence of Aya, the constant reminder of a love so profound it traversed realms.